Welcome to Ruling on the Field.
This is the weekend everybody had circled.
NIL has changed college
Definitely
football.
worthy of winning that
The
award.
best player in the country.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show. Are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight. Where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Ruling on the Field. Finally, we're getting started season 2, first episode. It's been a fun off season. Really starting to get back into things. Spring ball's right around the corner, but I'll tell you, this is the most fun time to talk ball because there's a lot of bullshit to talk about. A lot of it may or may not be true, and we just get to have a bunch of fun. Brady, how you doing?
I'm definitely missing college football. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. It's nice to have weekends open now. Like I can do stuff on Saturday and Sunday. I'm definitely missing it though.
Definitely missing it. We have a lot of fun things coming this upcoming year. We have some good connections that we're building and helping bring more insight to you guys on the sport, things that we're looking forward to. Might go to some games as well. You might catch one of us at a spring game next week or in the next upcoming weeks. So we will keep you guys informed on that. But, let's get into our first things to talk about this year. There's going to be some really fun games that are non-conference this year. Good slate. So, Brady, let's do our top 5 non-conference games for the 2025 season. Let's start with number 5. What's your top 5 game?
You want to start number 5 or go honorable mention first?
Oh, you know what? Let's start. Let's do top 5. Top
Okay.
5. We'll go honorable mention and end it.
At 5, I've got LSU at Clemson in week 1. Um, Obviously last year was a bit of a letdown spot for Clemson, getting destroyed by Georgia in week 1. Klubnik's back for his senior year. It feels like he's been there forever. I think that'll be a good one. You get to see Nussmeier for LSU another year. I don't know how good I think LSU will be this year. They'll probably be right around where they were last year. I'm excited for that one.
I am. Look, I think any game with LSU at the beginning of the season, we've seen it for a few years now. It always is an exciting one. I'm excited to see that game. I think Clemson has a lot to prove this year, if I'm not mistaken. They are actually starting to use the transfer portal. It was some big news this offseason. So, excited to see how Dabo's going to start molding that program around this new NIL era of college football. I think this is a great matchup week 1. That's also who I have as my 5th game in my top 5.
What do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I have Florida at Miami.
Yeah, me too.
Right. I think that this Florida team is going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. I think that they're going to hit this spring portal window really hard, and they're going to get some good pickups. Miami, I mean, they have Carson Beck transferring over, who obviously struggled last year. It was a hard year for him at Georgia, but I think he's going to find his groove. Miami with another good recruiting class, continuing to bring in good transfers, and, really like what Cristobal is doing over there with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I think the biggest one in this spot, it's a week 4 game, so you get both teams to get their feet under them a little bit. DJ Lagway's probably a dark horse Heisman candidate this year. You saw the pieces kind of coming together for him last year towards the end of the year. I think Miami's going to be worse this year. I don't see a world in which they're better with Carson Beck at quarterback than they were with Cam Ward a year ago. It's natural to be worse after you lose a guy who's probably going to go 1 or 2 in the draft. I still don't. I've said it all last season. I don't think Carson Beck's that good. Lost a girlfriend. Maybe focuses more on football this season. Who knows? I do think that game. I think it's at Miami too. I wish it was in the Swamp. I think it'd be a good one.
Do you think Miami is ever going to have an elite college football environment?
They propose it every few years, and everybody loves the idea, but the board of the regents, or whatever, just don't pass it. it's cool playing at Hard Rock Stadium, but then when half your games are empty because it's an hour from campus, it's tough to get a good atmosphere and a good home crowd environment.
That's one of the things that needs to be fixed about for some of those teams at least. We see it with UCLA too. Their students don't get on campus till the end of September. It's
Yeah,
awful.
well, that and I love the Rose Bowl, iconic venue. As someone who's made the drive from Pasadena to Westwood after a game, it is, you'd think it's not that far because it's LA. I'm not kidding. It's an hour and a half with traffic from right after a game. It's bonkers. It's terrible. There's no other solution for it, but it is stinks and it is what it is.
Speaking of the draft, because you brought up Cam Ward, we are going to be doing a mock draft episode coming up here very shortly. We're going to get a special guest on the podcast. So I'll keep you guys updated about that, but stay tuned. That will be happening. For my number, did I say number 4 game on that
Yeah.
one? I
Yeah, number
did.
three.
Who is your number 3?
Notre Dame at Miami. This is the
Number
one game I know that we had differently. Another week one game. Everything I just said about Miami carries here. I think Notre Dame's going to be better not better this year, but still really good. Probably a playoff team. I'm really excited to see Lloyd Carr's grandson for the Irish, which
baby.
feels blasphemous to say as a Michigan fan. But I think
Can,
it'll
can we
really,
really be that upset about it though? As much as there was a little bit of a buzz about him going to Michigan and his recruiting, we now have
yeah, we're pretty much set at that position.
yeah.
But no, I think it'll be cool. Notre Dame, Miami, obviously Catholics and convicts, awesome history there. And it'll kind of give us like the first taste of what Notre Dame does after obviously losing in the national championship.
If Notre Dame, Miami, if Miami wasn't an ACC team that Notre Dame plays almost every year, I would consider it a top non-conference game, but that's why I left it out. I left most of Notre Dame's games out because I
Yeah.
feel like they're all non-conference. So to that exception, I did have a Notre Dame game at number 3. I have Texas A&M and Notre Dame coming in at number 3. I think that's going to be a huge matchup after what we had last year. One, Notre Dame's going to be a good program this year. I expect them to be a college football playoff team, but here's the other thing. A&M, we're going to get to see how they bounce back. What kind of team they are. Can they go on the road and keep a game the same way that they did last season? So excited to see what happens.
Yeah, A&M's a team that they've had spurts, they've shown moments. Like that Tennessee game last year, I think was a fluke. I've said it last year. They're never a team that excites me enough. That's why I left them off that list. They'll look awesome against an Arkansas or a Missouri, and then kind of shit the bed in the big moments.
Yeah, and it's true, but I also love the early season A&M hype, and I think
Yeah.
that plays into making a great game.
Yep.
Boys, who do you have as your number 2 game?
I think we're probably pretty in line here with both our 1 and 2. Michigan at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Obviously, what is that, a week 2 game? Yeah, week 2 game. So assumingly Michigan will know who's the starting quarterback by then, whether it'll be Bryce Underwood or Mikey Keene.
or
Oklahoma
Davis.
or Jaden
now,
Davis.
One of those 3.
Yeah, I'd be stunned if it's Davis. It sounds like Underwood's the guy. Hope he is. And then for Oklahoma, obviously, disappointing season again last year in the SEC. You beat Bama, hooray! Bama wasn't that good last year. They did get the Mateer kid from Washington State. I do think they'll be better this year.
Agreed. And look, this is an exciting matchup that I'll be at. I'll be at that game. I'll have some content that weekend. So really looking forward to it, making the trip out to Norman. But, I mean, here's the hype about it. You have the number 1 quarterback recruit ever, really since ratings started being done on players. He's the first ever 100 overall player versus the best transfer quarterback in the class. And I think that it's going to be a night game in Norman. That's what we all think it's going to be.
You don't think Fox has the rights to that game and it's a big noon kickoff?
I don't think so.
SEC, so never mind. It won't be Fox. I forgot Oklahoma's not Big 12 anymore.
I don't know. Oklahoma games earlier in the year, that big, tend to be night games. So I don't know what we could get out of that one. But I'll tell you what, the environment's going to be great. 2 teams are coming from seasons that they need to build off of. and they have new guys that are going to bring new hype to the program. Look, that's going to be one of the most fun games to look back for both those teams all year.
Tyrone Moore revenge game too. Played at Oklahoma. I think he played for Stoops.
Alma mater, that's right.
Yeah. Before we get to one, you want to do honorable mentions here?
Yeah, let's do honorable mentions. My two honorable mentions are UNC at UCF. It's not week one. It's not North Carolina's first game. But I think that we're really going to start to see, just like with Harbaugh, let's say this, when he came to Michigan, it took a few weeks, right? They lost the game to Utah back in, 2015.
Yeah.
Little bit sluggish, but they started to really come together, and they kind of had a big game against like BYU or something. This is where I think this whole Belichick thing is going to be. It's going to take a few weeks, but we're going to see North Carolina that's starting to really gain an identity by then, and they get to go on the road, probably play a night game at UCF, and look, it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah. One of my honorable mentions, it's probably not going to be an awesome game. I don't think Oregon State's going to be that good this year. Bringing back the Civil War, Oregon State at Oregon. You get that game in week 4. I just think bringing back the Pac-12 rivalry games we lost is awesome thing, fantastic thing. I'm glad the ADs are able to work out that deal so fast. Obviously, they had the relationship there from being in the Pac-12. I just think it's awesome to bring those rivalry games back that we thought we might never get again. And because of that, my other game is Washington State at Washington, week 4 too. Like I said, I don't think that game will be fantastic product-wise. I just think the legacy of bringing back the Civil War and the Apple Bowl is just awesome for college football.
I have one more game. It's Wisconsin at Bama. I just think that, that had a lot of high expectations last year. Didn't quite live up to it. Alabama really pulled away with that one, but I always think that in these early season Big Ten SEC matchups, something fun is possibly bound to happen. But because of last year, that's why it did not crack the top 5. There's one other one that I really looked at and considered, and that was Pitt at West Virginia. I think that, right, these are two teams that I think West Virginia is one of the more fun environments. If you and I ever get the chance, I want to go to a game, West Virginia. It's kind of a bucket list stadium for me, and I think that this is going to be a fun early season matchup.
Well, yeah, and Pitt had probably one of the best non-major bowl games this past year. It was somebody from the MAC. It might have been Akron or somebody like that. Fantastic ending, like 3 overtime game. I think it was the Motor City Bowl or whatever the Detroit Bowl game is now, but fantastic.
Yeah, so really looking forward to those games. Let's get into this, and we didn't talk about this at all. We discussed this before the show. We're going to talk about potential Heisman contenders. We've done no thinking, no thought into it. If you had to think off your head right now, let's name 3 names that could be in contention for the Heisman Trophy this year. Who do you got? And I don't want to hear just wide receivers or just quarterbacks.
I was going to say, yeah, let's make a rule. We have to go. You can't go 3 quarterbacks.
Can't go 3 quarterbacks. Can't go 3 wide receivers.
All right. Top of my head, I mentioned him earlier, DJ Lagway. He's probably your best value pick right now as a dark horse guy because I don't think anybody's expecting to make that big of a jump this year. I know you're going to say Jeremiah Smith, so I'll go Ryan Williams. Another guy, probably the second best wide receiver in college football behind Jeremiah Smith. Was awesome last year at Alabama. I think his production could see a bit of a dip this year, assuming Keelan Russell isn't as good as he's supposed to be, true freshman. A lot of question marks there. And I'll stay in the SEC. I'll go Nico from Tennessee. I think Tom Fornelli had him as the best quarterback in the country last year. Obviously didn't see it in the Ohio State playoff game. I do think with another year, he's going to be awesome. You saw flashes. The deep ball was there. Tennessee is going to be fun.
Yeah, obviously I'll start with my favorite to win it, Jeremiah Smith, right? Best player in college football. Ohio State is known for having those absolute dogs, guys that come in that are just naturally talented, right? And we saw that last year. He was the best wide receiver in the country. He was a freshman, and he built on his hype from the beginning of the season and the preseason. So I'm excited to see what he does this year. Obviously, hopefully not much in week 13, but, I think he's my favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. I was going to say Nico as well. Nico is probably the most. He's starting to become a real veteran. He's a true veteran quarterback now that's seen it all for Tennessee. So that experience is going to play a lot because I think there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks this year. Like where the most talented quarterbacks tend to be young. We're going to see guys like Juju Lewis, who potentially could be a quarterback at Boulder. Either him or what's the guy from Liberty that transferred in?
Malachi Nelson?
No. Liberty to Colorado.
I know who you're talking about. Let me look it up.
Um, that's going to be an interesting race. He had a hell of a year.
Yeah, I can see his face too. Um, Caden Salter.
Caden Salter. I think Caden Salter, depending on how Colorado turns out, how that uh, season starts to roll early for them when we see their identity without Shador and Travis Hunter. He could be a dark horse for me. I like John Mateer as well. So there's a few of those quarterbacks that I think have potential. I want to think of a running back, but there's not too many sparking my mind right now.
Yeah, obviously Ashton Genty not winning it last year. Granted, Travis Hunter was awesome. Genty not winning it last year, I don't think gives me a ton of faith that a running back could do it this year.
Yeah,
Um, I'll just because that's the team on my mind, team I know most about. I think Justice Hayes has a really good chance. Probably not Heisman numbers, but at least to maybe have a week or two where people are like, "Hey, maybe he moves up the rankings, gets his odds higher." I think Singleton for Penn State. I think he's coming back.
yeah.
Assuming they get him the ball, he's been one of the best running backs in the Big Ten. He could be another guy that maybe you put a $5 wager on it and get him at crazy odds.
Yeah, and the other one is Carson Beck, right? I don't have high expectations for him, but he's been there forever, right? Last year, I said I wasn't high on him, but I'll say this: veteran experience in college football is probably the most important thing for a quarterback. I'd rather have a 4-year vet whose ceiling isn't as high, but he's seen everything over a guy that's fresh into the game. I think it just plays better. I think he's a leader in a way. We might see that happen, but I still don't have high expectations for him.
I'll say it now. If Carson Beck wins the Heisman, I will cut off a toe. Like
I
there's no shot in hell Carson Beck wins a Heisman Trophy this year.
I'll hold you to that.
Deal.
All right, who's the pretty boy at college football this year? Last year, I'd say
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Who's your pretty boy?
I don't know if it's deserved because I think he's way cooler than Jackson Dart. Nothing against Jackson Dart. It's just he's on TikTok a ton, always on my For You page. I don't think this guy's like this. I just think the media attention around him, his last name is huge. Um, Seems like a cool guy in interviews. Good looking guy too. Arch Manning. I mean, he is going to be on every offseason preview coming up in July. Every ESPN college football preview, on three preview, Sports Illustrated magazine cover. This guy is going to be everywhere come July.
Going back to it, did we talk about our number one game?
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about our number
Did we
one.
jump it right? Oh, we did honorable mentions. We didn't talk our number one game.
We didn't talk our number one game.
Yeah.
Guys, we need to go back here. Do you know what our
That's
number one non-conference game this year is?
It's Texas Ohio State.
Texas Ohio State, guys. This is, Cotton Bowl
Yeah.
rematch.
Speak of the devil, Arch.
Thanks for bringing that up because exactly. Speaking of him, this is where we learn about the rise of Arch Manning. Is this going to happen, or is Ohio State going to show exactly why they remain at the top of college football?
I'd be stunned. It's that game's at Ohio State. I'd be stunned if Ohio State wins that one. I think Arch is going to come in and be awesome. I didn't list him as a Heisman candidate because I thought you might. Trying to stay away from that, but no, I think Arch is going to be fantastic. I think Texas is going to be way better. Obviously, a revenge game after losing to Ohio State the way they did last year. And then Ohio State is Grant. I say this every year, and every year outside of Kyle McCord, I get proven wrong about it. Big question at quarterback for Ohio State this year, whether it's going to be Sayin, um, or even Tavian St. Clair. Right now, Sayin is probably going to be the starter. That's what they're projecting, barring something crazy happening in spring practices. We don't know how good this kid is. He's unproven. Playing against a really good Texas defense brings back a lot up front. I'd be stunned if Ohio State won that game.
Can I tell you something really funny?
Yeah.
Go back to the pretty boy thing, but Julian Sand is up there on my list of
Pretty boy versus pretty boy, week 1.
Oh, yeah, so we have week 1 pretty boy versus pretty boy matchup just for that honor. So that'll be a fun one. And actually, Julian Sand's a big topic at Ohio State right now. I'm excited to watch him this spring. He's been taking the starter reps for the most part in spring practices with Ohio State. So I want to see how he's going to be whether it's him or Tavian St. Clair, who is the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say on their depth chart. On their depth chart right now, the Kleinholtz kid that played in the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl against Missouri 2 years ago is their number 2 listed right now.
Yeah. Obviously, things change with that. I expect Tavian to probably be the number 2 guy going into this season, but
or he redshirts.
Or he redshirts. He pulls a Jaden Davis. The thing about Julian Sand is people don't think he has what it takes. I'll tell you what, he has one of the quickest releases I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think that will play well into his ability to put balls through tight windows.
Yeah, and I mean, as a first-year quarterback, I'm sure your job's way easier throwing to a guy like Jeremiah Smith.
No kidding. And I guarantee you they'll probably have another guy that ends up just like him, not as good, but
there's going to be like an Emeka Ibuka type guy that pops up out of nowhere. Carnell Tate's coming back, right?
Yep, Carnell Tate, I believe, is back this year, so there will be another guy that pops up, 1 or 2 of them. Ohio State's always loaded with wide receivers. All right, 2 more things to talk about real quickly. North Carolina season expectations. We haven't seen too many NFL coaches come back to the college football ranks. Now, Belichick, I don't think has been in the college football ranks.
Might have. His dad coached at UNC, but
long time ago. But yeah. I mean, long-time NFL veterans coming back. Very few of them. That's why I brought up that Harbaugh reference. What is success for North Carolina this season?
I just pulled up their win total right now because I was curious about what it is. As someone who hasn't looked at their schedule at all, their win total right now is over 6.5. I was going to say they're probably right around there. I think a 6-win season, make a bowl game, I think is a fine first year. It's the same thing as Dion. Obviously, he didn't do that in his first year. But I think you can win 6 games, make a bowl game, get the fans, the program, the donors, and everybody in Chapel Hill excited about the program. But I don't think anything more than that. Obviously, you want to win more games. You want to win 7, 8, 9 games, be a contender in the ACC. A conference that I don't think is going to be that good this year outside of Clemson and maybe Miami. But I think anything less than 6 wins is probably a disappointment.
Yeah. Look, I think I'm going to say 7 here. The reason being, if you're a coach like Belichick that brings the standard that from the NFL that you had and bringing it into college football, you better exceed expectations. That's what success looks like. So I'm going to say 7, 8 wins is a successful year for North Carolina this year.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule. They could be way closer to that 7, 8 line than I think they are.
Yeah. We'll see when we start watching tape on spring ball this year. So a lot to keep up with North Carolina. Last topic. Bryce Underwood, obviously, is Michigan guys. It has to be talked about. He is currently taking reps with the ones. There's 2 guys taking reps. It is Bryce Underwood, Jaden Davis. Davis Warren is still rehabbing his ACL. He will be out likely for the entire season, but nobody expected him to be in contention for the starting job. He is just a good leadership presence for that program. And Mikey Keene, who they brought in from Fresno State, still dealing, I think it's an ankle injury. He hasn't done any reps so far this year.
Yeah, I think I got a few thoughts on this. I think if you're Jaden Davis, I'm stunned that you're still on the roster after not playing in that bowl game. I would have thought, as obviously Davis Warren goes down, Alex Orji looks like he can't throw the ball. Well, we know he can't throw the ball. Um, the fact they didn't give Davis a single series in that bowl game against Alabama, me personally, I would have been on the first bus out the door. Props to him for sticking around. Um, and I think Underwood is everything Michigan fans want, right? I mean, getting Keene in the transfer portal is cool. Good to have like another veteran guy in that locker room with Davis Warren. But even from the videos the little videos that have come out from spring practices, Underwood looks legit. He looks big in the pads. Every ball is pretty. Doesn't matter what throw it is. This guy is like, he looks like everything he's supposed to be.
He looks like a veteran in some of those videos, and when you ask some of the players what it's like to have him as a quarterback throwing against you or throwing to you for that matter, he says they all say the ball is different.
Yeah.
The ball comes out, it's different. It's something that they haven't had since McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, probably a little bit more touch. He's a more talented thrower than McCarthy ever was. So, and that's a lot to say, right?
Is he probably
Look,
the biggest, most hyped quarterback Michigan's had since Denard Robinson in terms of
yeah,
just recruiting, scouting before the season started?
yes, 100%. The other thing is, I think Michigan might have some good weapons this year on the outside, and it's going to be young guys, right? So they brought in a kid, top 100 wide receiver out of, I believe, Katy, Texas. Name's Andrew Marsh. If you haven't watched tape on him, I guarantee you he's that guy. You should go watch some tape on him. Great player, elite athleticism. And then one guy that kind of slid under the radar that I really liked watching his tape, and I think he's going to be a huge addition at some point this year. His name is Jamar Crowder. He was formerly a NC State recruit, but flipped right before signing day to Michigan. Great hands. I'll tell you that. I don't think he has elite speed, but he has great hands. So they're going to have good playmaking ability on the outside from some young guys, and expect that to continue coming in, especially when they have a quarterback like Underwood. They're going to build around that. And I think that Chip Lindsey is going to probably start helping recruit some more high-caliber offensive weapons that we haven't seen Michigan get in a long time.
Yeah, and everybody's been all season long, all off season, been talking about how Michigan doesn't have any weapons on the outside. Obviously, lost Tyler Morris to Indiana in the transfer portal this year, leading receiver from last year. I'm still a little stunned that he was our leading guy last year. I think Samaj Morgan, who's coming back, was better. Just Michigan just didn't find a way to get him the ball. They've got McNulty coming in from the transfer from Indiana, really big possession guy, could be huge in the red zone. Frederick Morris coming back, caught that first. It's crazy that his first touchdown pass came in that bowl game against Alabama. Um, and I think another guy that could be huge this year, Amarion Walker, redshirt junior. He's probably the fastest guy in the roster. And I'd be stunned if Michigan doesn't find a way to get him the ball in space.
Was he always a wide receiver? I'm trying to remember. Was he always a wide receiver, or was he a D back before he transferred over to Ole Miss?
I think he came in as just an athlete, so I think he probably played both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think he played both sides, but we didn't really see him much last year, just little glimpses of it. Obviously, Michigan didn't pass the ball a lot, but I think you're right. I think he has potential to be kind of like a secret little weapon that Michigan has this year. We don't know. There's so many hidden variables because we don't know what we actually had last year because we didn't have a quarterback to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So lots to look forward to with Underwood. We'll continue to update with that. Next week we'll discuss one of the other big recruits that we're starting to see lots of good tape from. Juju Lewis over at Colorado. I'll hopefully be at that spring game. So maybe I get to watch him, see what I think, see if he passes my eye test for what I like to see in a quarterback. But look, it's great to be able to talk college ball even when it's out of season. It's going to be one of the most fun parts of the year. We're going to start doing this a lot. So if you guys have any recommendations, shoot them to me, leave a comment on videos, let us know. We will start talking about it.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get to the real like dog days of no sports where it's just baseball games in July that mean nothing. And we're talking about which campus has the best bar or the best jersey or the best alternate jersey or alternate logo or dumb stuff like that.
Yeah, when spring ball's over and they haven't hit camp yet,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of dumb stuff to talk about. But the dumb stuff is the most fun stuff to talk about. So, look, very excited to get back to talk with you today, and we'll have a mock draft episode coming up soon. Lots of fun content. As always, stay tuned, subscribe, and go blue.
Go blue.